Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for coming out on this lovely evening. As mentioned this evening, I will be talking about mindfulness for young children. So if you have children, grandchildren, work with small children, I think it's a good opportunity to learn some basic ways that you can teach mindfulness. I think it's really never too young to start teaching mindfulness. In my practice, I see children as young as little tiny preschoolers come in and see me, and we work on very basic stuff like deep breathing and knowing what your feelings are and labeling them and knowing them in your body. So it's never too young. So welcome. I hope you all have someone that you're thinking about in your mind that you'd like to share this with. Also, I wanted to mention there is a book at the front that is free. So please take a copy for yourself. It will outline some of the things I'm going to teach you tonight. It has some nice scripts on the end for teaching to children the concepts that I'm going to talk about tonight. So please if you feel to take one, please take one. Okay. So I think we'll start with meditation, a brief meditation, if that's okay with everybody. Yeah. I think that, so I'll teach it like I teach when I'm in session too, okay? And so we're going to pay attention. I'm going to be a bit of a stickler for posture and how we're sitting, and because we want to get a nice deep breath down into our chest, okay? So we're going to sit with our feet planted firmly on the ground, 90-degree angle at the knees, nice and tall. I want you to imagine that I have a string on top of your head and I'm pulling your spine up, so nice and tall, no slouching. Drop the shoulders down, shoulder blades together. Now see, we have expansion across the chest. That way, when we breathe in, we're going to get a nice, deep, restorative breath, okay? So we're going to breathe in through the nose for a count of 4. We're going to hold it, and then we're going to exhale through the mouth, okay, for a count of 4. People do it differently, but this is how I teach it. If it speaks to you, you can use it. If you want another counting method, you can also use that, okay? We're going to begin with 3 deep breaths. So let's go in. Hold it, out. Okay, now here's another thing that I teach is that we don't usually breathe deep enough. It's very shallow, so I should hear you all. It's going to be really noisy. So when we breathe in through the nose, we're going to suck all the air out of the room. Okay, when we breathe out, we're going to pretend I have a candle behind me and we're blowing it out. So nice and forceful, so don't be shy. Okay, we're going to do it again together. Nice deep breath in. That's it. Feel. Hold it now. 100% better. 100% better. So much better. Excellent. Okay, let's do another one together. In. Hold it. Now out. Noisy. Good. One more time. In. Hold it. Now out. Excellent. Very good. You're going to continue to deep breathe and you're going to listen to the sound of my voice. We're going to either close your eyes or just soften the gaze, which means you're just looking lightly through your lashes, okay? So continuing to deep breathe and listening to the sound of my voice. I want you to spread your toes in your shoes. Relax your feet. I want you to notice that your feet feel very heavy now, almost as if they're being pulled down into the ground. They're so heavy. Start to soften and relax the muscles in the lower legs. Soften and relax the muscles in the upper legs. You notice your legs feel very heavy in the chair, almost as if someone's put a heavy weighted blanket across them. Just let them go, let them melt down to the floor. Spread your fingers, relax your hands. Start to soften and relax the muscles in the lower arms. Soften and relax the muscles in the upper arms. You notice your arms feel very heavy now as they pull your shoulders down towards the floor. Just let them go. Soften and relax the muscles in your stomach. Just let your stomach push out a little bit. Soften and relax the muscles across your chest and across your back. You start to notice that your head feels heavy on top of your neck. You begin to relax the muscles of the face. You notice that your cheeks feel like they're sliding down off your face towards the floor. Relax the eyes and the eye sockets. Unclench your jaw, let your mouth fall slightly open. I want you to notice that your whole body feels completely relaxed. Now, in your mind, I want you to try to go to a place that is relaxing for you. I want you to see it clearly in your mind's eye now. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you hear? I want you to go there now. There's nowhere else you need to be and nothing you need to do. Just release your body and go to your quiet, happy place in your mind. I'm going to leave you now. Continue to deep breathe. Relax all the muscles in your body and just stay in your happy place for the next few minutes. If you notice noises coming from outside, it's okay. Just let them be. If you notice noises or thoughts from your own mind trying to come in, it's okay. Just let them pass by like beautiful clouds in a blue sky. You don't need to give them any attention right now. Come back to your breath, center yourself. Return to your happy place. And now, bringing your attention back into this room, back into your body. You're going to slowly start to wiggle your toes, just wiggle your fingers, tense the muscles in your legs to wake them up. Just roll those shoulders back and down, and only when you're ready, very slowly opening your eyes, letting the light and colors in the room come in. Better? Yeah. You feeling more present? Yes. It's a very quick meditation just to center yourself, to be in the room, let the ego go, just be fully present. I would like to share with you, if it's okay, when working with very young children, what I would typically do over 6 sessions. And I will just go session by session. So with very young children, of course, they come in and I have lots of toys, so they're going to play. And then when I teach, it's a brief period of teaching, but it's encased in playing. They may play, they may color, but I'm talking and I'm teaching them. So we're going to break down what I just taught you into very distinct parts. And that's how you teach it to children. I don't come out of the gate and sit with them and do a meditation with them. That's not what I do. So what I have found works really well is if you make it fun and break it down and teach it to them in steps. And then they go away and they practice that one step. And when you come back, you add on. And so when we're all done, they actually have a complete meditation practice, but that's not what I call it. So when I first meet with them and I get to know them and I develop rapport and they're feeling comfortable with me and we've played for a little bit, I might talk about deep breathing. And we'll talk about how do you know you're deep, like what's a deep breathing? Like everybody is breathing, so what does it mean to deep breathe? And so I will teach like I did similar to you, like deep breath in, hold it, deep breath out, and we'll practice. With very little kids, I might even use a visual. So I might hold up a picture of a strawberry and say, can you sniff the strawberry? You need to take a really deep breath, sniff, it's beautiful. And then a picture of a candle. Can you blow out this candle? Visuals are very good, particularly if they don't have a lot of verbal skills, and it's good to use visuals to start. And so I usually create a little folder for them, just like a simple paper folder that they get to decorate with stickers, they make it their own. And then on a little cue card, I will put like a scented sticker. And so I'll write instructions for the parents, like, scratch this sticker. And so they know they need to scratch it and smell it, and they'll draw a picture of a candle, blow out the birthday candle. They understand birthday candles, yes? So that's the practice for 1 week. Go home and practice deep breathing. Do it 3 times a day. First thing in the morning, last thing when you're going to bed, very good. But then try to remember one other time during the day when it gets really busy. This is good for adults too, right? We get busy, we get distracted doing everything. So it's like just stopping long enough to take 3 or 4 deep breaths. So that would be session 1. Does anybody have any questions about that or comments? That's cute. It's cute. I know we'll have a Q&A at the end, but I would say please feel free to, I don't mind if you interrupt, if you want clarification or you have questions, or you have something to share.
With the children,
yes.
do we attempt to hold at the top?
I still do the 4, 4, 4.
Hold at the bottom?
So I go, and then I count with them, like I will count, and so they're holding their breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, now let it go, 1, 2, 3, and I'll count for them so they get the rhythm down. And then usually it's not deep enough. As I said, like even in the room when we did it, it's not deep enough usually. So what we're working on is a really good deep breath, and it sounds so simple, but people don't do it. Children even don't do it, particularly if they're anxious. They shallow breathe. Yes, they shallow breathe. So getting them just to welcome. Stay still long enough to take 3 or 4 deep breaths is like, it's huge. And even the parents will say after the first session they practice, it makes such a big difference that they're doing the deep breathing and they seem much calmer. And it's like, it's breathing. But if you think of it, has anyone ever taught you how to deep breathe properly, unless you have a yoga practice or meditation? Has anyone ever taught you? Right.
Then if you, as an adult, if you breathe properly,
Yeah.
you activate your vagus nerve, and I can do it all the time.
It's amazing.
Yawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
And you yawn.
I'm doing that now.
Or you,
Well, I do it just standing somewhere or sitting somewhere, I'll do it 2 or 3 times a day and no one even knows I'm doing
exactly.
it. You're sitting in your vehicle and you get a little dopey at light, just a couple, 3 times, all of a sudden you're ready to go again.
Exactly. Or sitting in your car and somebody does something that's silly next to you and you feel like you're going to get angry. It's like, take some deep breaths. Yeah. So teaching deep breathing, you're right. We can use it through the lifespan. It's very important. They realize they are breathing. It's like one of my favorite mindfulness teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, has said, everyone is breathing, but not everyone is aware they are breathing. It's so true. You know, if you've never read anything or listened to anything by Thich Nhat Hanh, I highly recommend. Like poetry, it's like, it seems on the surface simplistic, but it's beautiful, beautiful. So yes, any questions about teaching, how do you teach deep breathing to a child that's in your life? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a silly question.
Oh.
So I'm of the age where they first made scratch and sniff stickers.
Yes.
Do they still make those? Do you
They
know?
do, and that's what I put on the cue card.
That's
Yes,
what
I get bubble gum. I'll say scratch and sniff, and whatever scratch and sniff sticker I have. Scratch and sniff the bubble gum. Scratch and sniff the strawberry. Scratch and sniff the cherry. You can still get them. I know. I was so excited because I, as a child, loved them, and they still have them. Yes, Staples. I go to Staples to get them. Mm-hmm. And so the kids love stickers, they love to scratch it, they love to sniff it, and so it's just, the parents can just pull the cue card out at night and use it. Again, the visual is there and to practice, so yes.
So you talk about deep breathing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a 4-4-4.
Yes.
But we know that the relaxation phase
Yes.
is prolonged
Prolonged
exhalation.
exhalation.
So could
yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
talk about that bit of deep
Yes,
breathing or a
yes.
prolonged exhalation?
There are many ways to teach deep, and you're right, we get into the science of it and the prolonged exhalation. And if you've ever done yoga, of course, they spend many classes teaching you many different ways to do the breath. For me, I have found if I keep it simple and don't introduce like, and we're going to do 4 and 4 and then 6, it's like 4-4-4. We're just going to do that. Is like you can work on that, and particularly with if they get older, there's a more a tolerance for that. When they're very young, you have this much time to teach them, and their attention has gone to something else. So I have found that it's good to just introduce the concept, keep it very simple, keep it simple for parents to remember too. And then if you want to work on the breath, and definitely like the longer exhalation you can, as you get deeper into that kind of practice, I have just found that it's simple, keep it simple, like that principle, keep it simple. And then you can play around with the numbers, but you're correct. The longer, like a vocal exhalation, the release of that, if you want to practice yourself, I would recommend you do. Do you have a particular breathing pattern that you prefer or use in meditation?
No, it's basically that exhalation stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
It's the relaxation phase. And so if you want to calm yourself down, count how long you breathe in and count out longer by 1 second.
1 second. Mm-hmm.
And optimum
good advice.
breathing is 4 and 6, which
Yes.
is 6 breaths a minute.
Can we just count slower on the exhale?
You could just go, I said 1, 2, 3, 4. So it helps memory, but also you could get that in, so.
Yeah, I like
Yes, quite. Good point, thank you. Yes, excellent. Anything else about, we could spend a session talking just about the breath. Yes.
Yeah, at what age do you think children can hold 4 at the bottom?
With the preschoolers I work with, no problem.
Empty for 4.
They will, because it's like a game, I guess, when we do it. Like they want to do it, like it's like if you set it up like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna see if you can do it. They will turn blue if they need to, but they will do it. Because it's fun for them. It's adults when you get in your mind about it and think about it that it's more. Actually, it's harder with adults, if I'm going to be honest with you. Children, I have no problem teaching them. They're because they're so open, and there's still so much plasticity in the brain, and they're so curious still. You know, like with a child's eyes, curiosity of a child, right? Where that comes from, that saying. So if I suggest something to them, they're okay. Like they're really. It's like with adults, they're more like. Particularly if you get your scientific type, they're like, wait now, let's talk about the vagus nerve. And so then you got to spend a bit more time explaining why we're doing what we're doing. Kids are like, okay, I can do that.
Staring is another good one.
Staring?
Without blinking.
Yes, then you can, exactly. Because it becomes a game. It's like, I can do that. Yeah, good question. Sorry, there's someone, I think, at the back. Did you have a question?
I was just gonna say, I do 4s and 6s.
You do 4s?
That's
Yeah.
what my patients know, okay, let's do some 4s and 6s.
Yeah.
Just do it together. So I don't call it box breathing.
Oh, you don't call it
Mine's
box
kind of
breathing.
like a rectangle type thing.
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic. How old are your patients?
all ages, right, and family dogs. So,
Youngest being,
I might try with 5, 6-year-olds,
yeah,
but I walk it out.
yeah.
I walk, you know, 3 and 4, and then I have that little
Yeah.
hold, and then I walk out.
Walk it back.
So we kind of walk around our little room together.
That's great.
Fours and
Yeah, the
sixes.
physical movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to have them sit, like we're usually on the floor, so we're sitting.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they've been playing, and so I'm gonna come down with them, and then and that's when you introduce what you want to teach, and then we're gonna play some more. So like it needs to be sandwiched together, right? You can't spend a session with a very young child,
But
you know,
when I
teaching.
do it, like, I just kind of like move my body when I'm doing it. So
Yeah.
like I'm counting and making it obvious and I'm like this, and then they just start doing it. Next thing you know, they've done, like you say, you've done the 6 seconds, and you didn't even notice it. And we're all ready to do the 1, 2, 3, 4 again.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes. I agree with you, they're very want to try it. Yeah.
Yes, very open.
Yeah.
Very open. Yes. Good. Anything else about deep breathing or the breath? Yeah. And again, even there's a script in the book how to do deep breathing. On purpose, I put it on the end. Everything I teach is there, so every family that comes to me, they get a copy of the book so they can teach it to their kids, so they can go home and teach it. Because that's what I found when I first started my practice is they were like, well, how do I remember how to do, like, how do I do this, right? Because particularly when we do like the progressive muscle relaxation, which is part of what I did with you earlier tonight, is like, I don't remember that. I don't remember all the steps or how to say it like you say it. And so that's where the idea for the book came was, because I couldn't find a book that wrote it down like that. Like there was bits and pieces in different places, but I thought, so we'll do this. And then you can just take the book and then you can read it at night as part of the bedtime story. And you can, and I put a little sticky on the page that we did that day. If it's deep breathing, there's a little sticky that says practice this 3 times a night with your son, daughter. And so they do that. And then they come back and then I move the sticky to the next thing I'm teaching and then practice this 3 times a night. So then they know what to do. Yeah. So after, sorry, please.
Sorry, how do children bridge the relation between, or do they need to even, between smelling, sniffing, and breathing? In their brain, how does that connect that they are?
That they're breathing. Interesting. Yeah, I think that in my experience, it's just the visual of it makes them like, because I'm trying to get the deeper breath. And so for them, if I just say take a deep breath, it's like they get this inevitably what they do. And I go, okay. So that's why I started doing the visuals, like, can you sniff this strawberry? And it's like, then they understand. So it seems that they make the connection better with the visual, particularly when they're very young.
It's very creative.
Oh,
I just
thank you.
don't know what happens in their brain that they
Yeah, that I don't. Maybe the science people in the room could answer that. I actually do not know exactly what happens.
To do with engaging the past positive network of the brain, but you're focused on like a particular outcome or something, so you're trying to smell the actual thing, and that would engage a different
Part of the brain.
or something.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what you're doing in meditation as well.
thank
Does
you.
it make sense?
Yes, yes, please, the wisdom in the room, come forward. Excellent, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Any other comments, questions? No? Okay, so that's session 1. So assuming all goes well, and it does they do tend to go in practice, it's easy, right, if you break it down. And then, and also in that first session, I would have been talking about like feelings, and they would have been like coloring pictures that have to do with feelings. There would have been a feeling chart to go home. So they're starting to develop emotional vocabulary, which is very important. You know, how can you say how you're feeling if you don't have the vocabulary, you don't know what it means? And so that's not always something that's directly taught, and in some families it is, but not every family. So building emotional literacy is very important, I would say. And you can never start too young for that as well, right? Even before they can have the words for it, you can say, I see you're feeling very angry right now. I see you're so using it and labeling it. Not everybody does that and uses that type of language, but it's very important to start using emotions, feeling words very young. And then they will pick that up and they become better. You see a reduction in, because often, you know, young kids come because there's behavior problems, right? Or they're very anxious. And so once you start to teach emotional literacy and they have a higher emotional IQ, you see that behavior problems go down. So if they can say and label how they're feeling, that goes a long way. So I'm working on that as well concurrently. So I'm teaching, you know, awareness in the body, breathing, but also what are you feeling? What were you feeling when you hit your brother? You know, like how does that make you feel when he takes your toy? Like, so you start to establish feelings and what they are and what you can do with big feelings. Yeah. So by session 2, then we're going to look at introducing the idea of progressive muscle relaxation, or as I call it with them, it's toes to nose. So we're going to work on toes to nose relaxation. And so I have them sit and we're able, and I go through it much quicker. Like I was very kind of like slowed down and thoughtful for you guys, but again, you have a window of opportunity with a small child. So I'm not expecting them to master the practice as soon as I teach it to them. It's like, I need to get it in and teach it to them, and then they go away and practice it. So I will, you know, I'll have them sit down and I'll like start with the wiggling of the toe and we'll go all the way up the body, we'll get it all done. And of course they're moving and they're wiggling, they're not really paying, but they're listening and they get it. And when they go home and practice, the important part is the practice. And that over time, parents will say, it's amazing. Like I'll do it at night, I put them in bed and we start to do it and it helps them sleep. Like it's been fantastic. So you just got to kind of lay the foundation. You're not looking again for mastery as soon as you teach it. You're just introducing the concept, and because they're open, so open, they're like, okay, oh yeah, I can do that, I can try that. And so then they start to, and it becomes something that they just do. Can you imagine if we started doing that with every child? Imagine. If we taught the foundations of mindfulness, of meditation, emotional literacy, emotional IQ, what the world would look like.
In the schools.
And in the schools, do you work in the schools? Yeah. Imagine if you had a classroom full of kids who came with high emotional EQ stuff and you know, and ability to self-calm and yeah. So this is why I think it has to start with the children. It has to. So, you know, I've been doing my practice for many years now, and it works. It works with children. And, you know, I see it because I'm blessed to see them grow up, and it makes a difference. It really does, you know, and the parents come back and tell me. So I started breaking it down. You know, because I was into mindfulness. I should tell you a little bit. I got into mindfulness when I was pregnant with my first daughter, who now is in third year university. And I started reading Buddha Mom, and I was trying to be more mindful, and I started to get into the practice. And so when I had my children, it made me want to be more present. I thought, how do I want them to remember me? What kind of mother do I want them to remember? And I'm far from perfect, but I will tell you, I did really get into mindfulness. And it really helped, because when they were little, if I was in the kitchen and they were like bugging each other and I started to deep breathe, they go, oh, mom's deep breathing, you know? So I'd just be trying to center myself, but they knew and they understood. So I think it's important, you know, that if children can grow up around that, if you teach it to them, just becomes something naturally you teach, like you teach them how to feed themselves, how to ride a bike, how to why not teach them this? Why not? So we do the toes to nose relaxation, you know, and it's sandwiched in between playing and fun things and coloring, and then they go home and they practice, and then they come back. And now we're going to do body scan, or nose to toes. So now we're coming back down the body. And if it's a bit of an older child, I'll actually get them to draw a picture, like kind of like gingerbread man. So, you know, I'll do an arrow like toes to nose, and then body scan is nose to toes. So like they understand the direction we're going. And so body scan is what it sounds like. So you're starting at the top of your head and you're starting to come back down, and you're just kind of checking in your body and looking for any areas of tension or discomfort. You're just trying to breathe deep into those areas, see if you can relax the muscles even more, you know. So you're teaching them to come back down now. And then that's another thing that they will take away and work on. And then, depending on the age, because real little ones, this is a bit tricky, but as they get older, I might introduce noticing thoughts. Yeah, because the physical is easier. They understand physical. What are thoughts, right? But if they're a bit older, I will say, you know, like, do you think if we sit for a few minutes, and so we've done, like, they're nice and calm, and we've done the progressive muscle relaxation, body scan, I'll say, like, just pay attention to your thoughts right now, just for the next 3 minutes. Would you say most of your thoughts are, let's just label them as positive thoughts, negative thoughts, or neutral, which is neither negative or positive? Would you say that most of your thoughts in these past few minutes have been about things that are happening right now with me in the room, in the present, things that have all like happened before in the past, or are you worrying about something in the future? So I will slowly introduce this concept, you see. And I'll say, you know, you might try to do that. After you do your progressive muscle relaxation body scan, you might notice your thoughts, just a couple minutes. Just start with that. We're going to start with that. They start to become aware of where their mind is, what their mind is doing. Think about this is powerful. Yes. That goes home as homework. For another session, I might do like a mindful jar. So, I brought it along. I'll show you a sample. Excuse me. I might do something like where we make, of course, like we have to do crafts with kids because they like to make things too. So I might have, you know, introduce the concept of like a mindful jar, which is very simple, you know, with glitter in it, and we'll shake it up until we're going to deep breathe until all the glitter settles down to the bottom. Yeah, you can make this at home, you know, and then I give the parents the little sheet that says, make sure you use some glycerin so that the glitter can be suspended a little bit longer, or it just all goes to the bottom anyway, so you want it to hold for a little bit, yeah. So put a few drops of glycerin in there. And the other thing I tell parents is you're going to want to seal the top of the mason jar, like maybe with some saran wrap or something, because it'll leak, because they want to shake it all the time. Yeah. And so they'll go home and they'll make their mindful jar. And then so whenever they're upset, I say, you know what, when you're fighting with your brother, your sister, somebody, you know, you go to your room, you shake up your mindful jar. Remember the deep breathing I taught you back in session 1? You can do that deep breathing until all the glitter settles down. Are you still feeling angry when the glitter settled? Shake it again. Do it until you feel calm.
That's brilliant. That's way, way more powerful than counting before.
Thank you.
That is brilliant.
Thank you.
I know a lot of adults who could use that.
Could use their own mindful jar?
Christmas gifts.
Christmas ideas.
Just to calm themselves.
Just to calm themselves down. And sometimes I'll even suggest as an alternative, I don't know if you've ever seen, you can buy like these kind of like little snow globes where you can put a picture in. Yeah. So they can insert a picture of themselves in there and then shake it up and then deep breathe. Yeah, so there's modifications you can do if they don't want to make their own. But most kids want to go home and make their own mindful jar. They really do. And to use it. It's great for schools too, great activity in schools.
How small does it work?
How small? Again, preschoolers. I've done it with preschool. Now, this jar may be a bit
No,
heavy.
I meant how small a jar is.
Oh, Oh,
still works.
yeah, you know, it would work in a smaller mason, like a smaller mason jar too.
Something in my pocket.
Yeah.
Do you think it would work in a
Yeah.
Yoplait bottle?
I don't know about a Yoplait bottle, but like, even, I just wanna show you, I was at, so you don't even need to spend a lot of money, but I was at the dollar store one day and I found these, and I went, oh, that's my office. So what happens is, you just, this circle part actually comes off, and you can take it out of its holder and flip it around, so that the glitter needs to come down. This will work too. You can, like, be creative, you can find things that you can use, right? And it's light. This jar is a bit heavier for smaller kids, so that's the only thing.
Or an egg timer?
Yeah, you could use an egg timer. So you could set an egg timer and say, you know, you're gonna deep breathe until the ding goes off, absolutely. Yeah, and some kids are very motivated by that. Yeah, just a timer for anything. They're very motivated. I have found glitter, because kids like glitter, much to your chagrin probably, because it's so messy, but kids love glitter. They love things that are shiny and sparkly, so.
So do I.
I know, right? So I gravitated to that, but you're right, you could use other items that you have just around your home. That they can go set the egg timer and deep breathe until they feel calm. Great idea.
What else you got in there?
You wanna see what else I got? All right. I'm so excited. I wasn't sure if I should bring my stuff. I'm so glad I did now. Okay, so mindful jar is another session. Now, another session I will do is something that I put together called a mindful kit. A mindfulness kit. And so I just got like a clear shoebox. And so I will say, and I'll give a list to the parents of suggestions, and I'll give them a couple items for their mindful kit to start it off. I'll be like, this is your kit that you're gonna go home. You can just use an old shoebox. And you're gonna put things in the kit that when you use them, you're going to feel more calm. And you're gonna put it somewhere that's easy to access. You know, like maybe it's in your room by the side of your bed. So when you're feeling upset, you're gonna go in there, you're gonna go use your mindful kit. So, you know, you might have some, like, this is like, they're all into slime, you know, the squishy slime. There might be some slime. There might be like a little stuffy that they can squish, a little squeezy toy, bubbles, blowing bubbles. Breathing, slowing down. You might have a coloring book or a coloring page with some colors, a little journal. They can, if they can't write their feelings, they can draw pictures of how they're feeling. They can use colors to say, like, red, I am mad, right? So, yeah, I just put a few things in here. This is like a little ice pack that doesn't necessarily need to be in here, but kept in your freezer. So if they're feeling really anxious or overwhelmed, they can just take this and lie down and put it over their face like this, and it really helps them to calm down, because it initiates the diver's reflex, right? Yeah. And dollar store, all of these things, very easy to put together a mindful kit. And they'll say, you know, like, put in it stuff that, you know, and it's just yours. It's not for your brother or sister. It's your kit. So put it somewhere and then you go use it. If they want to make their own kit, they can make their own kit. This is your mindful kit. So, session 6, mindful kit.
Did you say about the ice?
Oh, so if you put it, it has to touch, like, be on the top of your cheeks here. So over the face, touching the top of the cheeks, cold. And deep breathe while it's on your face, it initiates something called the diver's reflex or diver's response. So basically, if you're a diver and you're going into cold water, what happens? Heart rate slows down, everything slows down. That's the effect, so you're gonna feel calm. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So just giving away some tips, like when you have things you can use like this with children, it makes it more fun. They want to do it. And guess what? Now we're doing mindfulness. We got a whole mindful practice. Make sense? Yeah. Questions about what I teach, how I teach it, items that you can use? Yes.
Do you teach a group of kids at once? Or is it
No, I do individual work. I do not do groups. Yeah.
So are these kids that predominantly have issues, or are these just parents that say, I want to have my kids learn
Mindfulness? Oh, that would be amazing. Oh my goodness. That is the dream, if a parent actually came and said, I brought my kid here because I'm, Usually, no, they're in, the referrals usually come because there's like, there's a behavioral concern, anger management, or they're very anxious and sensitive, just trouble with emotions and emotional regulation, like all like sort of, there's the presenting issue that they usually, when people think I'm gonna go to a psychologist, there has to be an issue. But that would be amazing if they actually came and said, we don't actually have any issues. It's like, we would just love for you to teach this to our kids because we think it's important. That would be the dream, but so maybe one day, maybe the next generation that we're teaching, if they bring their kids in, they'll be like, hey, this is hope, this is the hope. But yeah, great question.
Wouldn't it be great if it were like, we all know how to drive.
Yeah.
It's always best to get someone else to teach our kids to drive.
Isn't it?
It's just get, because they listen better.
Parents say this all the time. They say they would not do that for me. And I'm like, yeah, because you're their safe place. They trust, like they're gonna, yeah, of course not. Like they're gonna come in, I'm fun. Like I've got toys, I give them stickers, I give them, like it's fun. They wanna come and play with me. But, if parents are saying, now Tina told you we're gonna work on this, and they do, they said, yeah, like they'll do it. But if I said, you need to work on this, they're like, no. So it's such a good point.
And the novelty of another relationship with a safe adult, so parents can leverage that.
Absolutely, such a good point. Yeah, I know when my kids got their driver's license, I do not recommend being in the car with them.
You're not giving the right nonverbal.
No, I'm sure, yeah, it will heighten your anxiety response,
Right.
like, it was, so
Mindful
bad.
presence.
Yes, the mindful presence, yes. Yes, please.
Do you have to get buy-in from the parents first? Those kids might come from certain kinds of parenting or households, and I don't know, they might get pushback, or they might not believe, and kind of get in the way of it, or you're going, no, just troop on, the child will respond.
Such a good question. I feel like at this point in my career and in my life, I'm very blessed in a private practice that most people who bring their kids are there because they want them to, like they've done their research, they've learned about me, they know what I'm all about, and so they know when they show up, this is what they're getting and that's what they want. So not so much in the private practice setting, but to your point, like I've worked in other settings and for sure, and that's why like I'm not sure that it would work as well, because part of the reason it works is the parents go away and they practice with the kids and they see value in it. And so if you don't have that buy-in, like I think you're right. I think it will be difficult. I mean, the kids may do it for a bit, but they're not gonna, they still need someone, particularly when they're very young, to assist with that. If they were much older and coming on their own agency maybe, but when they're young, they still need that supervision and, the parents saying, oh, remember, it's time to practice this. And so, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, thank you.
When Alan Donsky is talking to us, right, and often we're all struggling to learn here too, and he'll say, oh, by the way, I teach this to my young charges, and we're all going, well, if he can teach that to those teenagers, like, why can't we do that? So, we, as the parent in the room, the kid might get better at it than we are.
So how do I, as a grandparent, model and impact my grandkids with mindfulness and meditate? What can I do to share that with them, to teach them?
I'm sure you were already
Get your
doing that, Phil, but
Get your kid out and use it while they're watching. I think that would do it.
You need a kid film.
I think for Phil, like to answer your question, I think it's like when you work on your own practice, when you work on showing up mindfully, non-judgmentally, like that calm presence for them, I think you are teaching them if you're not directly using the words. I think that by maintaining your own practice, that you affect, it's like concentric circles. I think it affects everyone around you. So I think the fact that you've been practicing, I think you already do that. Like, you don't need to have it broken down into steps the way I do. I think just showing up that way,
Kids or
Teaches
grandkids
them.
are very observant
they are.
to grandparents versus their parents.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, because it's kind of like that one step removed thing, right? It's like, yeah, let's do it for the grandparents, but not for the parents. So, yeah, poor parents. Like, yeah.
Conversation is always between them and you and no one else, always. And always tell them you love them,
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah. And so they feel like, yeah.
Like if somebody did something to you, would you like that?
Mm-hmm.
No. Well, you know what the answer is, then, don't you? Yes, Grandpa. Just little things. Doesn't have to be complicated life. We
Doesn't
start
have-
thinking and open our mouth before we think, changes the whole concept.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
Here too.
For
Very
parents and
true.
grandparents, something comes to mind that I think that you've done so well, Tina. I think
Thank you.
colleague with Tina's for many years, and the idea of we're first a human being, and then we do. So this is what Tina does, this is what Phil does. They embody that mindful presence and that attention to tuning their own instrument, right? Nourishing your own inner mindful capacity. And then maybe if you have a mindfulness kit or a strawberry sticker, then you can kind of teach the strategies, the doing to kids. But you have to be it first. Otherwise, it's like, you can be a gym teacher and teach jumping jacks, but if you don't really know how to implement other stuff along with it, it's probably just gonna be a jumping jack.
That's such a good point. Thank you for that. That is such a good point.
When they get a little older, you should keep an eye on the people they're involved with, who the children are involved with.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it gets a little more exciting sometimes, but they get in the wrong game.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
had people who moved across the city, so they weren't at that school anymore, or put them in private schools.
Yeah, I do think it matters, yeah, like kind of birds of a feather idea, right? Like who you hang around with, you start to model. So if you have good role models around you, you will embody that. And to your point, I think when they're used to being around that kind of like calm, non-judgmental presence, if they run into the wrong crowd, they start to go, I think the red flags go off for them sooner than for kids who haven't necessarily grown up around that.
The Walton School is one of the best in the world.
Is that right? Yeah.
I've got a partner in Arizona, and son's amazing at 14 years old.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as tests. You're not an A, you're not a B, you're not a C, there's no such thing. That's
Yeah.
grades people that way, and he doesn't.
He doesn't do that. Yeah.
He's always on the honor list, president of the school. His grades and stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And all the kids are like that. They do a lot of outing too to teach them about life.
Yeah.
It's not behind the desk all the time.
Yeah. So outdoors as well. Sorry, you want to say
I
something?
think with the younger ones, it might be an idea to call it the breathing game.
Yes. If you call anything a game,
Right.
you're right. Yes. Just as the breathing
Like
game.
staring contest on the
Yes.
deck, everybody knows what it is, and then into the breathing game.
Yes. Yes.
The Montessori
Yes.
schools do have, they call it the peace table. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
In Montessori schools, they do teach self-calming.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always has they're big on the prepared environment, so it's already there.
Yeah.
It's a familiar part of the classroom or the environment. So they would have a lovely little cloth and flower and things on there, so, but it's
Lovely.
removed from the level of stimulation that you find in the rest of the area with the other children in the different stations. Tables, so they're in a separate area, it's automatically quieter and calmer. And it's one child at a time, and then the teacher goes in and checks on and gives a little direction or a little encouragement or a little modeling.
Lovely.
And
I like
breathing is
that.
part of that, as well as the sensorial items.
Lovely.
And I
Yeah.
know that idea borrowed from the Montessori philosophy of education is making inroads into senior care a lot. And I deal with dementia patients a lot, and I do a lot of these type of things with them. It's remarkably effective in just how they're interacting with the caregiver, with the staff, with other residents, and with pain management even. It's very effective.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. because you kind of think it's almost like returning more to a child state, isn't it? So if it works for children and like reduction of behaviors and yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Any other comments or yes?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
First, I really like your mindfulness kit.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I think children really like their toys or any something they really like to distract them.
Mm-hmm.
So it reminds me of I don't know if it's not a good example or not. Every time my dog and my cats feel very anxious, I will play a music for them. They will calm down. That music is created. Is made from a professional animal team, I think. So, I have a question. Do you have any recommendation music for the kids, or just play some music they like?
Mm-hmm.
Give a time of a sound to listen, and they will come down to.
That's a great question. I forgot to mention in my office, actually, in the waiting room, but also in my office proper when they come in, I'm always playing. It's just a CD. It's a nature CD, and so it's bird sounds and waves and so it's just all sounds of nature. So that's always on in the background, and they just come in and it's just to your point, settles them down. And so I would suggest something like nature sounds are very good. Also, I think classical music. I always played for my kids when they were little. Always had it on when they were, doing a craft or playing, just in the background. Very calming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Tina, thinking of all the things that have such a positive effect, given all of your experience, I'm sure you've had parents come in and say, "We've been trying this and it's not working," or so. What tips or thoughts do you have when maybe there's some resistance or just some lessons learned along the way?
Yeah, I definitely because as humans we want things now and we want it to work now. So if it doesn't work right away, what I will say to parents, that's such a good question, is, and quite early at the beginning, so to temper expectations, is, so I'm going to teach this over 6 sessions, but I want you to understand that I'm planting the seeds of mindfulness. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't mean that after 6 sessions you're going to go away and be practicing mindfulness. It's this is when you plant the seeds for a flower, you're going to continue to nurture it and it's going to grow. And if you continue to practice with your child over time, away from me, then you will see the benefits. So I temper that right away. That's a great question. I didn't mention that. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, did you?
Going to, perhaps I'm jumping ahead. We're going to talk about labeling.
What was your question around labeling?
Labeling the emotion. Labeling what's inside my, labeling the emotion.
Yes, I start from session 1 with emotions. We talk about emotions, labeling emotions, identifying emotions.
And how do we deal with this? A child, or perhaps even a grown-up? I don't have a word for it.
Emotion charts are great for that, and they show their visuals. So there's the character making the face, but then the name. So even for us, a lot of adults, we weren't taught. There are lots of different emotions, and so it works for children and adults. If you look at an emotion chart.
An emotion chart?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where might one get it?
You could literally.
It's in your book.
Yeah, that one's not, but you could just Google it and say free emotion chart, printable, and you can find it. There's lots of emotion charts.
On Pinterest.
And Pinterest, yeah, there's lots available in the public domain. You can find it. You're welcome. I also wanted to say before I forgot, with older kids too, I will start to move into the concept of mindful terms, and so we'll talk about And I've developed a sheet of like different terms, and so we'll talk about gratitude, we'll talk about radical acceptance. So we're starting to get older kids into teenagers now. So I'm starting to introduce concepts and what that looks like in practice day to day. So I'll start to move into some of those terms as well. But with the little kids, no, we don't do that so much. But I have books in my office on mindfulness, so I could read. That's a great idea. Books are a great tool to use when teaching children. So there are books on mindfulness or about the concept of gratitude, so you can start to like gift those books to your grandchildren, read those books to your children or grandchildren. So, and feeling books, lots of feeling books. Books are amazing tool with young children. They like them, right? They like you to read to them. You can read it to them, and as they get older, they can read it. Yes. So.
Do you also do the 6 sessions with older? Like
I do.
preteen and-
Yep, I do, and I do it with adults too. But I modify it for the age. So I just I just modify it for the developmental age that I'm with. So, but the concepts remain the same. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the 40-year-old adult is really the 5-year-old child, right?
Absolutely. In many ways, the children are, like I said, are easier because they're very open. They'll just go away and do it. With the adult, you have to. There's so much ego to push out of the way. Before it's like, why are we doing? Like, what is this? What you have to spend so much time on that. So much time on that.
For the older children, are you linking mindfulness to like distractions? Like for instance, like phones or screens or, you know, becoming more present to our discomfort or boredom or,
Yes.
you know, and when they're constantly looking for the distraction.
They are, but you have, so like, the thing is like with screens and with phones, it's like television back in the day. It's like, it's here to stay. So, but what I will say is like, you know, on your phone, there is an app you can download called Calm. You can use this app. Or like, so I'll suggest apps. So like if they're gonna be on their phones, right? Here's something you can do, and like, you can practice, you're on your phone. So I try to use it as a vehicle for them practicing more. Yes. Yes. Okay, I think. Yeah.
So, well, it's our Q&A, which
It's our Q&A, what we've been doing, so.
We've already been doing, so we can continue. If you have some more questions for Tina,
Yeah.
I think she can help with.
What helps if you put that LED lights around us too. It's the worst thing that you could have. I can feel them affecting me all the time I'm in here.
So.
I even have stuff on me to resist the feeling on me.
That's amazing. If you come to my office, thank you for help jogging my memory. If you come to my office, they're all covered up. We have pictures. It's the sky and clouds, and it's covering up all the fluorescent lights. So if you come in, they're all covered, and there's calming music playing, and it's just a calming. Even for the parents, I thought when I opened the practice, I want the parents to come in and feel calm in the waiting room. I don't want it to be like a sterile clinical, I want it to be calm. I want that to be part of the experience. It starts the moment they step in. So thank you for that. Yes, so I agree. Our spaces matter. You know, the spaces that we're in matter, and these are things we can pay attention to. Thank you for that. Any other questions? You guys have been great, really good questions and comments.
You're explaining how you teach small children. How do you get the buy-in for grandparents, like, for them to utilize this when they were your child? Because my parents did not grow up with mindfulness or talking about feeling pain, so I was like, how do you make sure that they understand when he needs that when he's with them? Or to start doing instead of, I don't know, whatever methods they're used to, right?
It's such a good question, and of course, you know, my answer is going to be we can't make somebody do anything if they don't buy into it or they don't see the point of it. But what I would suggest is saying something like, you know, what we found is really effective with Joey is we've done, you don't need to call it mindfulness, like when I sit and I breathe with him like this and show it to them, and so they might, like when he's in the middle of a tantrum, go, let me try that you found that works. I might just say like, yeah, like this really works for us if you want to give it a try. But I wouldn't be like, you need to do the deep, because that's probably not going to work. So it's more of a, again, you embody it, you show it, you say this, I've found this really helpful and it seems to work for him. You know, I wonder if you might consider giving it a try. I think it matters how you present it. Yeah, is that helpful? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I won't be there to see it, so it's like.
exactly.
Hopefully.
You just got, yeah.
Hopefully that's what's.
Yeah, and I would say, like, as long as there's one person, like, if you're the person teaching mindfulness, that's what counts. That's all that matters, one person. Doesn't need to be everybody. It's ideal if everybody is, but I mean, the world we live in, I mean, we like, right? So if you're doing it, that's amazing.
Yeah, we have a book he really likes, I can't remember the author, but it's called Calm, it's got a bear on the front.
Oh,
You know, when it's
nice.
like counting.
Oh, nice. Beautiful.
I might give Grandma a copy of that. 'Cause I
Yep.
think it's fun to
Say this is his favorite bedtime story. Can you read it to him? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's funny, as he gets good at it too, you can almost see him teaching her.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you know, that would be so sweet.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly, right, but if it comes from him, it's like, well, of course I wanna learn that. That's sweet.
Yes. Great, okay, oh, yes.
When I was homeschooling 3 adolescent daughters.
Oh.
Survived. I gave them this concept under the guise of a stillness challenge, like the staring concept idea, to make it a challenge. So they were very wiggly, and you know, I used a lot of unschooling principles and Montessori principles, so there's a lot of activity anyway, but I wanted them to really learn the calming, regulating, and so I made it a challenge. It was 5 years between them, and so we would all sit in whatever position that they would sit and be comfortable in, and I'd just make it a stillness challenge, and I'd start a stopwatch and see, you know, whoever dropped out, okay, that's that many points or whatever, and we'd have rounds of it
Yeah,
to keep it going.
It's fun.
Oh, I wiggled, oh, I sneezed, oh, I, whatever.
Yeah.
My head itched, or whatever. Okay, we'll try another round. So we just keep it going by accumulating points and giving them a reward.
That's great.
You know, so this was the box of 10 to 20 points. This is what you choose your treat from, and different boxes, different levels.
It's great.
So it was both collaborative and competitive.
And competitive. It's great, thank you for sharing. Yeah. Okay, are we doing, oh, sorry.
So I have a question about after the session, when you let them do the practice of the breathing,
Mm-hmm.
if they still feel angry or they cannot calm down, so what's the next step for them?
They need to keep practicing the breathing. So sometimes that's good, so sometimes they'll come back and the parents, occasionally, not very often, because again, if they're coming to you in private practice, they're committed to it. But sometimes they'll say, oh, like life was so busy, I'm sorry we didn't get to practice, and I'll go, that's okay, we're gonna reassign it for this week. So I won't move on until they've mastered the first step, like that's the point, right? Until they've had a chance to really practice it, because if you don't have the breath, if you're not starting with that, then what's the point of everything else, you know? So then I'll say, okay, that's okay, we'll just reassign that this week. And so we'll do it again for another week. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Anybody else? No? Yeah?
I was wondering, so provided that everything goes all right and the, you know, kids are doing the home practice at home and
Yes.
parents are sort of helping them along, like what sort of changes do you see then, over the course of like 6 sessions and stuff, like where do you see sort of initial to like?
Yeah.
What sort of differences do you notice?
I think it depends on their referral question, why they're there, but definitely you will see a softening of whatever brought them there. So like if it was behavioral issues, like you see it's starting to soften. Again, you're not looking for a complete resolution after 6 sessions because again, I'm planting the seeds. But parents will say, oh, we're getting less calls home from school. This is fantastic. You know, like we went on a trip and they didn't kill each other. This is fantastic. So they'll tell me anecdotes like that. While they're still, like, as long as the kid is still practicing, they're like, this is great, and now they're teaching it to their, you know, younger brother, and we've been doing it too while we're teaching. So like, this is what I hear back, this is the impact it has, and it's amazing. And I say, that's fantastic, you continue to practice that, you'll continue to see benefits from it. Yeah.
So you had a meditation practice historically or now?
Historically.
Where you would sit. Did you ever invite your kids in to
when they were little
to see what you were doing hopefully as a way of modeling what that they might do?
Yes, I did when they were little, and I think you and I were talking before I started my talk, and so they were exposed to mindfulness from a very young age, and now that they're like young adults, of course, they kind of pull back. And I was talking to Phil about that, and I said, I guess what I hope is that I feel like the seeds have been planted, and I feel like, because they're individuating, right, and they're becoming their own person, and so I feel like because the seeds were planted so young, I feel like they'll come back around to it at some point. And I do see them using some of it, like they wouldn't say it, but like I've seen them doing, and I'm like, oh, like it's still there. So it's kind of like you see glimpses of it. But I think, you know, like they need to figure that out on their own now that they're older. But I feel like, yeah, laying the groundwork there when they were little and they were watching me, and we would talk about, I always had that calming music, and you know, we talked about these concepts, and I hope that the foundation was laid, so that if any of it speaks to them when they're older, they'll circle back around and they'll already have it. It's kind of like learning a new language, right? If you were exposed to it early, it's like, you come back to it, you go, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. So that's what I'm hoping.
Think of the kids who quit piano lessons because they're done.
They're done, yeah.
And then as adults, you go, oh, I'm so glad I learned that when I was young.
Right?
And then they take up piano.
And then they take up piano again.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
but mindfulness. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, my daughter is 28 now, and I know she doesn't practice all the time, but I know it's a tool in her toolbox when she has challenges. She doesn't tell me, but I know that she uses that tool. So
Yes.
it's like that knowledge.
Yes, thank you.
So we're all adults here. Some of us are parents, some of us are grandparents. Do you have anything that you could share with us as adults? Because we're just all kids that are just a little older.
We're just all kids that are older, yeah. I mean,
In terms of that capacity, because mindfulness is the skillful relationship with the present moment.
Yes.
So could you share with the group about the most skillful way we can be in relationship with our thinking mind that gets us into trouble?
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. I think as adults, like if you understand, like from a psychological point of view, I think what's been really helpful when I work with adults, but also for myself, is if you know the concept of the id, the ego, and the superego. Yes? We all know Freud's concepts, yes?
Sure.
And so I guess like sort of like getting the ego out of the way. So the id is like the little tantruming child, right? You know, and the ego is kind of what drives the car most days. The super ego is the one that says, oh, you shouldn't do that. Like, you know, like kind of it's your higher self, right? So I think if you can understand those concepts and go like, okay, right, am I responding from, like, is this my id having a tantrum right now? You know, is this my ego getting in the way because somebody hurt my feelings? Or if I look at this from a higher point of view, higher self, super ego, how would I respond differently? So like if you can ask yourself different types of questions in moments that trigger you and be like, am I responding to this because of actually what that person said or because of how it made me feel, or my id or my inner child, or however you want to say it, my little self, what was triggered? What was triggered there? And so if you do that work, because most of us, we didn't go to psychologists, we didn't go to therapists, hey? Like most of us did not. So we have to do this work ourselves. So I would say that is great. The greatest work you can do as an adult is to start to do some of that for yourself. It's like, where's this coming from for me? Is this really about what that person said? Probably not. Probably not. Right? So I would say that is one of the best tips I can share about the mind and learning to, because mindfulness is about learning to be in the present moment and not to let that mind kind of go all over the place and decide, right? So you have to be aware, first of all, that you have thoughts, noticing your thoughts. And then where is that thought coming from? Why is this bringing up this emotion for me? What is that about? Be curious. Be like the child. I say the children are easy. They're naturally curious. They're naturally open. Be more like them.
We're the more difficult ones.
Yes. And I say that about myself, like it's true, all adults, because we didn't have that, most of us, growing up, right? We did not have the benefit of that.
If we knew then what we know now, I would use this on my children.
Exactly.
So I can use it on my grandkids.
Yes.
Yes.
And so now, we develop our own practice, we start to notice our thoughts, we start to notice our reactions. Who's reacting? What is this? What's going on here? Right? So start that kind of, I would say start there. Start there.
That's a great response.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Namaste. Thank you.
So in wrap up, as Phil said at the beginning, maybe an invitation for your top 3 takeaways for us tonight.
Oh, top 3 takeaways. Oh my goodness, okay. It's never too young to start teaching mindfulness. It's never too young, right? And I say that, like even with parents who have brand new babies, I'm like, be fully present with them. Don't be on your phone. Like, I know they're not responding to you, but be fully present. It's never too young. They know they feel your presence even before they can speak. It's
That's
never too
right.
young.
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. I would say it's never too young and you're never too old to start the practice of noticing your thoughts and working on yourself, and if there's any of your own inner stuff, now is the time. You're never too old. It's never too late. Okay? It's never too late to be the best version of yourself. And the third, if you are not already doing it, a daily practice of gratitude will go a long way. Okay, and that could be as simple as when you wake up in the morning, what are 3 things I am grateful for today? Or at night, you could write it in a journal if you're a writer and you prefer to write, but just noticing what you're grateful for in your life right here, right now, can be a game changer. Okay, thank you.